Fate is a lie told by the gods. This is one of the many things Kratos passed down to Atreus in God of War. In God of War 3, the God of War 3 conclusion has softened Kratos' rage, making him a very different and far more well-rounded character in the franchise's soft reboot. Atreus' storyline also shows a similar evolution. Defying fate and destiny has been the central theme in the God of War games. But does Kratos really have free will, or is he still bound by fate? Let's find out. In the 2018 game, Atreus is childishly naive and sickeningly sentimental in his attitude. His character changes most drastically immediately after Kratos' stirring scene in which he realizes he himself has not and perhaps never can change when he takes up his chains again. Kratos ultimately admits to Atreus that they're both gods after using the chains to go to hell for a cure for the boy's illness and bringing him back from the edge of death. As soon as this is revealed, Atreus exhibits all the smugness that any person who has ever claimed to be God has ever displayed. He frequently says things like, "We're gods, we can do whatever we want," and he quickly stops caring about the lives of mortals. But more importantly, it is in this scene that Atreus most closely resembles the well-known Kratos of earlier games. He is rather repetitive as he rages endlessly and seethes with senseless rage, even going so far as to resume his father's old pastime of murdering gods by killing Modi, the son of Thor. Only after a near-fatal battle with Baldur, who turns out to be less Kratos' enemy and more Atreus' evil twin, does Atreus finally accept that gods cannot and should not behave violently and differently. Atreus adopts a more mature and nuanced temperament from that point on, especially as father and son quickly learn more about Tyr, whose combat prowess but the propensity for peace is presented as the ideal god of war. This brings us back to Atreus' echo of his father's philosophy. Fate is a lie told by the gods. Such is, seemingly, the whole thesis of the game. Or, as Kratos will surmise soon after this moment, we will be the gods we choose to be, not those who have been. Who I was is not who you will be. We must be better. But Kratos is wrong. The idea that the father's sins need not be passed on to the son and that you are free to create your own destiny seemed to be being put forth. But it was quickly demolished once Atreus stated it. Kratos and Atreus are spat out into the mountain by the giant snake after being shaken violently by it. Baldur comes back. Baldur, who was destined to die had his mother Frigg assure his invulnerability to all good and evil using spells and magic. Except for mistletoe. The fact that Atreus just so happens to have an arrowhead with a mistletoe tip, keeping the straps of his quiver together in the precise location where Baldur's haymaker strikes him, is beyond any imaginable chance. And despite Kratos' best effort to flee without killing his enemy, Baldur forces him to slay the god of light after breaking the charm of protection. Baldur's death cannot be explained by chance or willpower alone. The takeaway is clear. Baldur dies because he was destined to. The player should quickly recognize the irony in the fact that Baldur's fate was fulfilled right before Kratos said the phrase announcing free will. Naturally, Kratos says these things with such conviction that in spite of the evidence of the contrary, we find ourselves wanting to believe him. We are then taken to Jotunheim. Kratos and the player are given a preview of how Atreus' narrative would end when he stands over his father's death, with the cursed ashes floating off Kratos' body and entering Atreus. The implication is clear. The patricide, which defined Kratos' father Zeus, and which defined Zeus' father Kronos, will one day define Atreus as well. It even defines their unseen adversary throughout Odin. And next, Atreus finds out he is Loki. Even while the God of War series makes significant changes to the mythologies it adapts, the overall picture is still quite accurate. Indeed, the weight of expectations surrounding that name contributes to the gravity of this great revelation. On the day of Ragnarok, Loki, a frequent friend and final foe of the Aesir, will command an army of Jotnar alongside Hel and her damned souls. Jormungandr and Fenrir the Wolf, Hrym and Surtur, and the entire population of Muspelheim, as well as all of the Aesir and Kratos did in God of War 2, like father, like son. After a terrifying cliffhanger in God of War, Kratos' journey is continued in God of War Ragnarok. Since then, Kratos' fate has been in question, and his and Atreus' attempt to defy fate derives the story of God of War Ragnarok. Despite being predicted to die in God of War's conclusion, Kratos survives the events of Ragnarok. This prophecy weighs heavily on Kratos and Atreus throughout the narrative, since things keep happening that appear to move the prophecy closer to reality. They triumph against the odds, though, and both make it through the war with Asgard. Kratos eventually receives the joyful ending he has been longing for since his days as the Greek god of war in the God of War Ragnarok finale. Kratos is informed by the Norns, the Norse mythology's fates, that there is no overarching plan or fate, just the decisions one chooses. They demonstrate how accurate their predictions are by pointing out how predictable people's decisions are. One of the features that demonstrates how the tale of God of War Ragnarok differs from traditional mythology is the information provided by the Norns. Even though Kratos initially didn't understand it, the encounter with the Norns gave him the means to defy his purported fate, despite the fact that it seems like a disappointing dead end. Making decisions that alter one's personality is necessary if one believes that destiny is an illusion and that choices are the only things that matter. They should be better, because Kratos continually makes decisions that indicate he murders gods and will go to any lengths to defend Atreus. The Norns can foretell what will happen to them. Therefore, in God of War Ragnarok, Kratos must define to put his confidence in Atreus to take care of himself, rather than killing any of the Norse gods in order to defy fate. Kratos accomplishes exactly this, which is the reason he survives God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok has a number of important themes, including the fight against prophecy and the manifestation of free will. At the center of the narrative is Kratos and Atreus' quest to choose their own fate. But other characters also face prophecy-related challenges. Odin puts out much effort to stop Ragnarok, but as he is frequently the case with prophecy, all of his endeavors to avoid the apparently predestined doom finally result in the prophecy coming true. It is revealed towards the game's conclusion how Faye assisted Kratos and Atreus in choosing their own course. In God of War, she was in charge of destroying the artwork that predicted Kratos' ultimate death. So it's not destiny or choice that drives us all. It's love. Keep spreading love, people. And while you're on it, show some love to the channel too. Until next time.